The Medici effect. How unlikely connections build powerful institutions. In 1450, if you wanted to become the greatest painter in the world, what would you do? You would find the best painter in Florence and apprentice under him for 15 years. You would do exactly what he did, only slightly better. But in 1470, a young boy named Michelangelo did something different. He didn't just study painting. He snuck into morgues to dissect corpses. He studied geometry with engineers. He argued with poets. Michelangelo didn't become a genius because he was good at chisels. He became a genius because he stood at the intersection of art, death, math, and spirituality. That intersection has a name. It's called the Medici effect. Today, we are told to specialize. Pick a lane, become the expert. But history's most powerful institutions, the Roman Empire, the Catholic Church, Google, the Medici Bank, they weren't built by specialists. They were built by connectors. Today, I'm going to show you the exact mechanics of how the Medici family turned a bank into a dynasty by connecting the unconnectable, and how you can use the same blueprint to build an institution that outlasts you. Let's start from Florence, Italy, 1397. The origins of the effect, the godfathers of the Renaissance. The Medici weren't royalty. They weren't warriors. They were bankers. But in the 14th century, bankers had a PR problem. The church charged usury, charging interest on loans, and this was a sin. So the Medici were perpetually on the edge of damnation. Enter Cosimo de' Medici. Cosimo understood a secret that modern CEOs are just rediscovering. Power does not flow from money. Power flows from the exchange of ideas. Cosimo had a specific thesis. He believed that if you took three groups of people, say Platonic philosophers, who think about the soul, Roman architects, who think about concrete, and Byzantine scholars, who have ancient Greek texts, and forced them to have dinner together every night, you wouldn't just get a dinner party, you would get the Renaissance. He spent 40,000 gold florins, roughly $500 million today, not on war, but on sponsorship. He created the Platonic Academy of Florence. He brought a lost library of scrolls from Constantinople. But here's the mechanism most people miss. The Medici didn't just pay artists, they created collision spaces. They made the sculptor share a studio with the chemist. They made the goldsmith learn about perspective from the architect. When a goldsmith, Verrocchio, learns perspective from an architect, Brunelleschi, and teaches it to his apprentice, Leonardo da Vinci, painting suddenly becomes no longer flat. This is the first law of the Medici effect. Innovation is not a spark. It is a chemical reaction between two foreign bodies. If everyone in your institution thinks the same way, you are not stable. You are dead. You just don't know it yet. The bank versus the Duomo, the unlikely marriage. Let's look at the most boring institution the Medicis built, the bank. Why did the Medici Bank survive for over 100 years when other banks failed every 5 years? Because of a ridiculous connection. Most banks kept their cash in gold. The Medici realized that the church, their primary client, had a massive infrastructure problem. The church owned cathedrals all over Europe, but building cathedrals required a logistical nightmare, moving marble. Here's the unlikely connection. The Medici looked at a bank and a quarry and saw the same thing. Both are about movement. They invented third-party escrow. You want to buy marble for a cathedral in Milan? You give the Medici Bank the money. The Medici pay the quarry in Carrara. The marble moves. The church doesn't touch the money to avoid the sin of usury. The bank collects a fee. This was the invention of credit. Now, fast forward to the Duomo of Florence. The cathedral had a massive hole in the roof. No one could build a dome that big. For 40 years it sat unfinished, an unsolvable problem. The architects knew physics. The engineers knew stone. No luck. But the Medici connected the problem to a different domain, seashells. Filippo Brunelleschi, a goldsmith, not an architect, looked at the ribbed curve of a scallop shell. He studied the horizontal tension. He then combined that with a Roman technique called opus spiccatum, herringbone bricklaying. The result? The first double-shell dome since the Pantheon. The Duomo still stands today. The lesson for building institutions? Your biggest bottleneck will never be solved by a better version of your current thinking. You need a thief. You need to steal an answer from a different game. The friction problem, why connection hurts. Now listen to the hard truth. The Medici effect has a massive downside. When you connect unlikely things, they don't always create art. Sometimes they create fire, literally. In 1478, the Medici sought to link banking to papal politics. They made an unlikely alliance with the Pope to control the alum mines used for tanning leather and dyeing cloth. It was a genius monopoly. But the rival Pazzi family didn't like that connection. During High Mass in the Duomo, the same cathedral the Medici helped build, assassins attacked. Lorenzo de' Medici escaped with a knife wound to the neck. His brother Giuliano was stabbed 19 times. This is the friction penalty. When you build an institution on unlikely connections, you introduce chaos. You introduce heterogeneity, and heterogeneous groups fight. Most modern institutions run away from friction. They want cultural fit. They want meetings where everyone nods. But here's the Medici secret. You do not manage friction by extinguishing it. You manage it by ritualizing it. Cosimo de' Medici institutionalized Lent. During Lent, the city went into a quasi-martial law, but after Lent, the canti carnascialeschi, the carnival songs. For 1 month, the servants ruled, the nobles sang dirty songs in the street, and chaos was channeled. They built a release valve. Your institution needs a release valve. If you never allow friction, you are building a pressure cooker. And pressure cookers always explode. The modern blueprint, the Bell Labs method. Now fast forward 500 years. In 1940, a new Medici emerged, Bell Labs. Bell Labs had a problem. They needed to send phone calls across continents. This required a switch, a wire, and a vacuum tube. But vacuum tubes broke constantly. The CEO didn't demand a better tube. He demanded that a physicist sit next to a metallurgist and a glass blower. One day, a physicist named William Shockley was working with a chemist named Walter Bratton. The chemist was cleaning an oxide off a silicon crystal. The physicist was setting up an experiment on electrons. The intersection of chemist washing a crystal and physicist controlling current produced the point contact transistor. That invention replaced the vacuum tube. Without it, you wouldn't have an iPhone. You wouldn't have a laptop. You wouldn't have this YouTube channel. So, how did Bell Labs force the Medici effect? 1. The long hallway. They designed a hallway so long that you had to walk it. You couldn't take a shortcut. You would randomly run into the guy from the department you hate. 1. The common mess. They forced PhDs to eat lunch next to mechanics. If your institution works remotely, this is terrifying because the connection algorithm has changed. The water cooler moment is dead. If you want to build power today, you can't just rely on architecture. You must architect a digital collision. You need a Discord server where the CFO and the junior coder can talk. You need a no-Zoom silo policy. You must force the unlikely connection, or the algorithm will give you an echo chamber. The inverse rule, how to destroy an institution. But let's be honest, some institutions are powerful because they resist the Medici effect. Think of the North Korean government. Think of a medieval guild. They survived for 100 years by doing the same thing perfectly. However, there is a specific way to quickly destroy a modern institution. I call it the inverse Medici rule. To destroy a company, you don't need a competitor. You need silence. You need to make sure the engineers never talk to the customers. You need to ensure the CEO never talks to the interns. Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975. Why did they fail? Because the chemical film division hated the digital division. The connection was too painful, so they buried the invention. Look at Blockbuster. They had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million. They didn't. Why? Because the store managers, the institution, saw the mail-in DVD, the unlikely connection, as a threat, not an ally. The Medici effect is painful. It requires status decay. The goldsmith who becomes an architect must admit he isn't a real architect. The banker who becomes a patron must admit he isn't holy. If you are building an institution, the moment you hear the phrase, "but we've always done it this way," that is the sound of your organization dying. The Medici survived because Lorenzo didn't care about tradition. He cared about beauty and leverage. New forms always beat old habits. So, how do you apply this today? You don't have to be a trillionaire like Cosimo de' Medici. But you do need a patronage mindset. 1. Audit your inputs. What are you reading? If you only read TechCrunch, you are stupid. Go read a gardening textbook. Go read a Cold War spy novel. The connection between spycraft and logistics is what enabled Amazon to win. 2. Hire for dangerous hobbies. Don't hire the MBA who runs marathons. Hire the accountant who does heavy metal guitar. Hire the coder who does origami. Those are the people who see shapes you can't see. 3. Build a Duomo fund. Set aside 10% of your budget for projects that make no sense. The Medici funded a guy who wanted to fly with bird wings. It failed. But that guy learned about air pressure, which later built the dome. A patron doesn't just invest in one horse. A patron invests in the track. The Renaissance didn't happen because Italians worked harder. It happened because they worked weirder. They mixed the sacred and the profane, the math and the marble, the bank and the cross. If you want to build an institution that lasts centuries, stop asking, what is the best practice? Start asking, what is the most uncomfortable, unlikely connection I can force today? The takeaway today is that the secret to building a powerful institution is not hiring smarter people, having more money, or copying the competition, but connecting worlds that everyone else keeps separate. That is exactly what the Medici family did. They brought artists, scientists, bankers, philosophers, and political thinkers into the same orbit. And the result was not just influence. It was a cultural explosion. Thank you for watching. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe for more.